Well, let's talk now to Kirsty Archer, who's a tenant who was evicted under Section 21. Is that right, Kirsty? You have been evicted, or you're in the process of it happening?
Yeah, that's right. And we're in the process of it happening at the moment.
And we say evicted, your landlord's given you 2 months' notice to move out. As in the terms of your tenancy agreement, what kind of notice do you have to give your landlord if you want to move out?
I think it's the same, 2 months, as far as I'm aware.
So both you and the landlord have to both give each other 2 months' notice if either they want you to move on or you want to move on.
That's how I understand it, yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think that's such a problem? I mean, presumably, if you're to move on, the landlord's going to have to find a new tenant, going to have to organise maintenance at the property and all of that. Why do you think you should have more rights than the landlord?
Yeah. Well, I mean, essentially, we've only been here 6 months in the property and we haven't done anything wrong to receive this eviction notice. We've been paying our rent every single month. You know, we've kept the property in a good condition, we've made it our home, and it just seems completely unfair to receive this for no reason other than the landlord just having the whim to just do this. We also feel like it's because we complained about things in the property, for example, when our shower wasn't working, and we think that's completely unacceptable for the landlord to respond this way because we're just asking for the basic rights of, you know, living, and yeah, we feel like we should have the right to secure homes just like landlords do.
What sort of problems have you had with the property?
So our shower stopped working, we were locked out of a communal door that we weren't given access to, and a couple of things that happened in a short space of time, and I think it was those sort of things that led the landlord to just feel like, oh, these tenants are complaining too much, and then we got the eviction notice just after Christmas.
I mean, where will you go now? I mean, simply you're going to have to find somewhere else to rent, aren't you?
Yeah, so the issue is with 2 months, it's like in London at the moment, it's really hard to find somewhere. You know, it's really expensive. On average, it costs about £2,000 to.
That's not the landlord's fault though, is it? I mean, that's just
that sort of things.
Yeah, that's just the housing market, isn't it? And the landlord would have the same issues if you decided to move out in 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's a systemic problem. This is, you know, if we can't really afford that £2,000, and you know, why should we have to, like, you know, working people, why should we have to raise that just for doing absolutely nothing wrong? Like, why should it be so hard for us to, like, live secure lives? We can't afford to, like, buy a property, like, so, you know, we have to rent.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose some would say, and I am speaking as somebody who has rented flats, who also rents flats out, that especially with the younger generation, in terms of renters, you very often find that tenants don't really know how to do a great deal in homes. So I, for example, have had tenants complaining that lights have popped because they don't know how to change light bulbs. I've had tenants complaining about the heating and they haven't turned the boiler on. I mean, it's just very obvious things. If you lived in a home that you owned, nobody would be able to fix these things for you. They're just things that actually often require a bit of common sense. Do you think you found amongst your friends, perhaps, that you perhaps aren't equipped with all the necessary skills to rent?
I mean, yeah, I think, I don't know, that's a bit patronising, really, because, I mean, if, you know, we weren't complaining about things like a light bulb, needing to change a light bulb, those things, like, are easy things to fix. And, I mean, if a landlord was getting pissed off by that, surely the you know, reasonable thing to do is to communicate, you know, communicate with each other and resolve that. Like, why should the consequence of that being, like, you know, them hitting, like, an eject button and turning your lives upside down because of that?
OK, Kirsty, we're going to leave it there.
Response.
OK, Kirsty, we're going to leave it there, and I should apologise for Kirsty's language there again. If anyone was offended by her language there, Kirsty Archer, who is an evictee, she's somebody who's been asked to move on from her tenancy. Let's take a look at